and welcome once again, Ninthers. Wishing you all a very good morning, a very good afternoon, or a very good evening. Take it as and when you see it. We were talking before that. I'm hoping that you all are doing fine, doing well. Members of your families doing fine and well, and you all are, most importantly, you all are happy and you all are content with whatever you all are doing right now. Uh, Before moving on, I'll just talk about. We were talking about ocean currents in the previous video, and I was talking about the things which actually affect the ocean currents. And we had talked about the planetary events and the variation in the temperature of ocean water. While we were talking of the variation in the temperature of the ocean water, we were talking of, or we were concerned with the difference in the temperature of the different regions of the earth. When we were talking of the equatorial parts, these areas are warmer. When as we move up, or as we are looking up towards the polar areas, those areas the water will be cold, and that creates a pressure difference because of the density. Hotter water, or the water over here which is hot, it is denser, it is less dense because it is hot, and the water over here near the poles, which is more colder than the area, water over here in the areas of near the equator. So colder water near the poles, it is more dense. So the dense water, it sinks down, and the lighter water, it travels from the equatorial areas, moves towards the poles, and as it moves towards the poles, what happens is that the water which is there at the poles, that sinks down. That is called the downwelling. So I'm just writing the term over here. It is downwelling. So downwelling, what does downwelling mean? Downwelling means that it's downwelling. Downwelling means that when the water actually goes down, or the water sinks, that is downwelling. And that water over here, the water is moving from the equatorial areas to the polar areas, and the water at the poles, it is going down, and it is moving underneath the water, or it is moving underneath the surface. Ocean currents, we were talking of the surface water which moves. So the water from the surface of the equator moves to the water, or moves to the polar areas, and the water at the poles, it downwells, it moves downwards, and then it starts moving towards the equator. The polar water starts, cold polar water starts moving towards the equator on the oceanic floor. So there are two streams actually. First, the one which is there, or the first stream has been created due to the difference in the pressure, and the first stream, it is moving on the surface, and the second one, it is moving downwards, it is moving from below, or it is moving on the surface of the ocean floor. So over here we have two kinds of, or we get two different types of movement of water. Next, if this was clear to you all, let us move to the next part. Next part of the next portion is that the next reason is that there is variation in the salinity in the ocean water. So what actually happens is that there are different parts, or different different oceans which are more saline, less saline. Different parts of the oceans which are more saline, less saline. Different parts of the earth which are, in which there is difference in the salinity. So what is salinity actually? Salinity is the amount of salt contained in the water. And what actually happens is that places where there is high salinity, the amount of salts, dissolved salts in the water is high, those areas, the oceanic water will be much denser. And where there is less salinity, or where the amount of salts is less, dissolved salt is less, over there the density is less. And this difference in the density due to the amount of salt dissolved in the water, this also creates a pressure difference. And again, places with higher density water, or places with higher density, over there the pressure will be higher, and where there is lower density, the pressure will be lower, and water will be moving from the higher density areas to the lower density areas. This was the other thing. Next, rotation of the earth and the Coriolis force. This is very, very important. as the earth is rotating, we know that the earth rotates from the, what is the direction of the earth's rotation? So the earth rotates from the west to the east. That is why the sun seems to rise from the east and it sets in the west. So the earth is rotating from the west to the east on its axis. So it is moving, the direction is from the west to the east. This is the direction of the earth's rotation from the, you can see this is the western side, this is the eastern side. This side is the west, this side is the east, and the earth is moving actually this way from the west to the east. So this is the direction of the earth's movement, and this movement of water is also affecting not only, or it is not only, this movement of the earth is not only causing the earth's water or the oceanic water to move, it also gives its direction. So what actually happens is that, you all know, winds are there, winds are blowing on the surface of the earth because of the earth's rotation. This earth's rotation is a very important reason why the wind is blowing or wind is flowing on the surface of the earth. And over here what we find is that similarly the oceanic water is also being given a push because of this earth's rotation. And not only this rotation, there's this Coriolis force or the Coriolis effect. What does the Coriolis effect actually mean? Suppose you are here on the northern pole and you want to come towards the equator. You want to travel straight. Suppose this is your path. This is the path you want to take. You want to travel in a straight line from the northern pole. You want to travel from here and you want to reach here. And you start your flight. You are there in an aeroplane. You are the pilot, and you are there. You are standing over here, or you are starting your aeroplane from this point, the northern pole, and you want to come to the equatorial part, and you see it is a very straight line. You know, you do not have any idea of Coriolis force. So what you know is that you will have to take a very straight path, and you know that if you take a straight path, then there will not be any trouble and you will land exactly where you want to land. You will be coming and you will be landing in this particular direction or in this particular place. That is what you do, and you start your engine, your plane takes off and you start flying it, and you come over here, you take a very straight path, you follow the compass, you do not move here and there, your path is very straight, you do not waver here or there, it is completely straight, there was no clouds, nothing, no interference in the sky. You took a straight path, but you found to your surprise that you did not land over here where you wanted to land. What actually changed? What happened was that as you started moving, the earth is continuously rotating. So as you were moving from this point to this, the earth was gradually rotating. So what happened was that the earth was moving from the west to the east. So what happened, as you started moving, the earth also, this point started shifting, and this point where you wanted to initially land, this shifted over here. So what you found out was that when you found that you landed over here maybe. So your direction was this. Although you took a very straight path, but due to the earth's rotation, it seemed to you that you have taken a curved path, or you have taken a tapered path, and you find that your path over here is, what is the direction over here? If you stand over here and you see which direction this is the right direction. So this is the right. So you find that you have shifted towards your right. Similarly is the case for the southern pole. But what happens if you start from the equator? So now suppose you wanted to move from the equator and go to the northern pole, follow the straight path. As you were wanting to move, what happened? You took a straight path again, but the earth rotated, and where will you land? This side or this side? Well, as you were moving, the earth was also rotating this way. The earth was moving from the west to the east. So what you actually find is that instead of landing over here, you land somewhere over here. So from the equator to the pole, if you are standing at the equator, the Coriolis effect, this is the Coriolis effect actually. This is not a very real effect, this is an apparent effect. So if you are apparent means something that seems to be, but that is not, that which not is actually happening. So what is happening? If you are standing at the equator and looking at the pole, Coriolis effect will act towards your left. If you are standing at the pole, looking at the equator, Coriolis effect will act towards the right. and similarly it is for the southern pole. This I'm leaving it as a homework for you to find out what will be the direction or the apparent movement of the wind, of air, or of your aeroplane if you are there in the southern hemisphere and you want to move first. In the first case, you want to move from the south pole to the equator and from the equator to the south pole. That is for you to find out. So this this Coriolis effect is also deflecting. This Coriolis effect is also giving a particular direction to the ocean currents, and the general direction of the ocean current is that the ocean currents are deflected clockwise in the northern hemisphere. You can see over here the ocean currents are deflected clockwise in the northern hemisphere. So clockwise means that direction in which the hands of the clock they move. So this is the direction, this is the clockwise direction. And in the southern hemisphere it is the opposite. It moves, the ocean currents are deflected anti-clockwise. Now this is the clockwise direction in the northern hemisphere, and in the southern hemisphere, well, it is not the anti-clockwise actually, it is towards the left. Why? Because had it been anti-clockwise it would have moved this way. It does not move that way, it is towards the left. Now a very important other thing, what gives the direction, or what actually there is this configuration of the coastlines. You can see what it actually means is that if you look over here and you can see if there is this is the equator over here, and as the suppose there is the ocean current which is being generated in this part near the equator, and the ocean current starts moving. The ocean current will always want to move towards the, it is wanting to move in the clockwise direction. It is wanting to go towards the, if you are standing here at the equator, it will want to go towards the left. It will want to travel, go through, this is the North America, this is North America, this is South America. So the ocean current which is originating from this part, the ocean current which is originating over here, this ocean current will want to move towards this direction and keep on going in that direction. But that is not the case. Why? Because it encounters a land mass over here. There is this coastline. So what is this coastline doing? This coastline is actually giving the ocean current a direction. It is giving the ocean current a push. So what happens is that this ocean current comes over here. It hits this coastline over here of Brazil, and then it is curved and then gets curved towards this direction. Again it hits this coastline over here. This is the West Indian Islands. It again gets curved. It again hits over here, this area of America. It again turns towards this area because it has nowhere to go. That is why it is not having, it is trying to find out any area that is free of land mass. So it moves this way, hits the land, again moves this way, hits the land, again moves this way, hits the land, then moves over here, hits the land, again comes over here, hits the land. So this over here, as you can see, because of the positioning of the continents and because of the shape of the coastlines over here, the ocean current is not free to move anywhere, but it is moving in circles, it is moving in loops over here. It starts from here as a warm current, it moves up, and then it becomes a cold, it is still a warm current over here. Over here it becomes a cold current, and this cold current again comes down. Why? Because this current now is moving, this warm current started from the equatorial area, it moved to this polar area, and when it moved to the polar area, it now becomes, the water becomes cold now, and now it has again to move downwards. So what happens is that this cold current starts flowing. So it is actually this warm current which is moving up, becoming a cold current, again coming down, again becoming a warm current, and this cycle keeps on going. This cyclic movement of ocean currents is called gyres, Gyers. So the circular pattern or the cyclic movement of the ocean currents due to the positioning of the continents or due to the coastlines is called gyres. So there are many gyres actually. There are many names given to gyres. There's the Columbus gyres, there's the Newfoundland gyres. So you'll be finding out, that is I'm giving you all a task. If possible, find out the names of the different gyres in the different parts of the oceans. I'll be updating you all, or I'll be telling you all the names of the gyres in the next video. But that's the homework I'm giving to you all. If possible, find out the names of the different gyres, and if possible, you can tell me in the comment section what are the names of the different gyres. So this was about the things, or this was about the different factors or the different things which are actually affecting the movement of ocean currents. Now, if this part is clear to you all, we can talk of the effects of the ocean currents. Now, first thing, see, this is what I was talking of. You can see over here, or you can see, this will be better. You can see the ocean current over here. What happened was that the north equatorial current, it started moving, it encountered the coast. Now the name only changes, but it is still the same current. It is the branch of the north equatorial current. It becomes the Gulf Stream, then it is the North Atlantic drift. One part of it moves upwards and the other part starts moving down, and as it is moving down, it becomes a cold current. It becomes the cool Canary current, and it again comes and meets this north equatorial current, and this keeps on going. Similarly, you have over here also, you have the south equatorial current, then it becomes the Brazilian current. Over here you have the west wind drift, then it becomes the Venezuela current, and again it turns into the south equatorial current. These are gyres. This is what actually I meant by gyres. So you can see what actually happens is that one of the most important function, or one of the most important effect of ocean current is that it brings the warm equatorial waters to these cold areas. You can see this warm, this, the red color is indicating warm current. So this warm current is moving towards these areas. That is why the coasts of England, the coasts of over here Denmark, Sweden, they remain frost free or ice free throughout the year. Why? Because the warm currents, even though the temperatures on these areas may fall drastically, but the warm currents, the waters remain warm, and that moderates the temperature, that moderates the climate. This is one of the most important features, or one of the most important thing which an ocean current does. It moderates the temperature all around the earth. It moves the water. It moves the hot water from the hotter areas to the colder areas, thereby reducing the heat in the hotter areas. So it moves the hot water from these equatorial areas, brings it to the polar areas, normalizes the temperature over here, does not allow it to become very very cold in the polar areas, and also it brings the cold polar water from these upper regions to the equatorial and the tropical regions, and not allowing these regions to become very hot. So the most important function of the ocean current is that it moderates the climate. This is a very very important effect of the ocean current. Next, the winds which are passing over the warm currents, they pick up moisture, and these winds, they bring rain to the areas where they will be flowing. So suppose there's a warm current moving. Warm current, actually what it does actually is that if there's a warm current and if the wind is blowing over it, so what happens is that the wind also gets warm, and as the wind gets warm, what happens is that the space between the molecules of the wind, it increases, and that can accommodate more amount of water vapor molecules or water molecules. So these winds, as they pass over the warm currents, they become warm, they take up a lot of moisture, and as they pick up a lot of moisture, what will happen is that the moment they hit the land, they'll be giving rains. And the winds which are blowing over cold currents, they do not bring as such any kind of rainfall to an area. They'll be bringing cold temperatures to an area, but not it does not bring any kind of rain. So I'll be leaving this till this part only. In this video we'll be discussing of the other effects, and then we'll be moving on with the currents of the Atlantic Ocean, the currents of the Pacific Ocean, and we'll be discussing all these currents in detail. So till then, I'll just say take care, stay safe, be happy, and keep yourself productive. Thank you.